Welcome to another edition of Carnivore Bites. I'm your host, Jeff Sherman, along with Dr. Eric Lopkin. And it's really not hard, Dr. Lopkin, to kind of identify the story of the week. Very interesting, fascinating. I'm gonna have to take the lead on this just for the first little bit, and that is the thing. My big takeaway was Biden, and I want to ask you: is it over?
Yeah, with the way he performed in the New Hampshire primary, he's making sounds like, well, he expected this. This wasn't where
Okay.
he wanted to make his stand. Anonymous sources from his campaign have stated to several publications that they don't think they can win South Carolina, and they're pretty sure he's done. This is from within his campaign.
Okay, wait. This is really important, Dr. Lopkin. You're telling me that on this day that that inside his camp they do not think that he can win North Carolina.
South Carolina.
So I'm sorry,
Yes.
South Carolina.
That's exactly what I'm saying. The story was first reported by Politico. I think it's been picked up by a couple other places already. But speaking under the condition of anonymity, people within his campaign are saying they don't think he can win South Carolina. They think he is done. Donors are fleeing. They're desperately trying to shore that up because whether he can win or not, without the money, he's finished.
I would have to say, once again, Dr. Lopkin, you are correct. I believe, from my experience, the big Mo, as George H.W. Bush said, is huge. I know that there's a huge African American population in South Carolina, but I honestly do not see it happening. I think let's dissect this for a second.
Well, it's interesting
go
that
ahead.
it's interesting that you bring up the African American community in South Carolina, because the same article from Politico quoted members of a super PAC that back African American candidates, and they stated that the African American community is backing away from Biden because the only reason they backed him in the first place was because they believed he was electable, and he's showing them he's not.
I agree, and I have to be honest with you. I do get fascinated by things. I really just do. A lot of things in life, Dr. Lotkin, are pretty boring, but this is fascinating. I've never seen anything like this. I really have never seen. I'm a little shocked when he first announced. I thought, whoa, this is a really formidable candidate. I know he's failed 3 times before, but the degree of, I'll use the term incompetence or lack of readiness, whatever you want to call it, is shocking to me. And that's not embellishing things. That's not, just for effect. I'm shocked.
Yeah, his fall from grace has been remarkable. Coming in with the backing of most mainstream Democrats, he was at the top of every state and national poll for months. And then his debate performances started, and then videos of him went viral. Just absolutely looks like he's losing his mind. People have looked at him
almost like he had dementia. I mean,
yes.
His debate performances were, they did get better, but they were really bad, especially at the beginning. And then talking about stupid stuff like his hairy legs and popcorn or corn pop. And then the last one, I just couldn't believe it. And I don't know the exact terminology, but calling that young woman something like a pig face or something.
Yeah.
It was just, you shake your head.
It looks like he's lost his mind. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what he was thinking. I don't know what his campaign is thinking about that. But he has shown that he is not electable. And that was the only thing he had going for him. His whole campaign was based on the idea that he could beat Donald Trump, that he was electable. And his own party is now going, no, you're not.
No, I think there was, honestly, I really do mean this. I think there was no chance of him beating down. I mean, in his current condition, maybe the Joe Biden of '08 with all his gaffes, whatever, would still be possibly. Like I said, I'm really not just faking this. I believe that, or using this for effect. I've never seen anyone, 78, whatever, 76 years. It's not that old anymore. Okay, to see someone, when he was in the Obama administration, I thought he was pretty coherent. I'm not saying he was a Mensa candidate, but I've never seen anyone go from that to something like embarrassing.
Yeah, it really is amazing, but I'm starting to wonder the more I see his performances if this isn't the real reason he didn't run in 2016.
Interesting. That is interesting. So we move on from Biden. Good point, Dr. Lopkin. Who do you think the biggest winners of New Hampshire is? I have an idea, but I'm going to defer to you.
Well, the big winners are the big three that walked away last night: Bernie Sanders, Mayor Pete, and Amy Klobuchar.
I think Amy's the biggest winner.
She is the biggest winner because nobody expected her to do as well as she did. And she has now come away with a strong performance in Iowa, a strong performance in New Hampshire. Her poll numbers are up. Her fundraising is up. She is now finally becoming a force to be reckoned with. And I honestly believe she is the best chance the Democrats have of beating Donald Trump.
I was just about to interject, and you are 1,000% correct. It's not Mayor Pete. It's not Sanders. It's her. She could be a strong opponent to Donald Trump. No question about it.
And not only can she be a strong opponent to Donald Trump, she actually has what it takes to win back the Democratic Party because she is a solid moderate. If she takes control of the election, it means AOC goes away. It means the squad goes away. It means
Pelosi goes away too.
Maybe Pelosi can still hang on. But it does mean that the wacko left will have lost their hold on the party, and the centrists will take control. That means they've got a good chance of taking the White House. With her at the top of the ticket, they've got a better chance of possibly taking the Senate and holding on to the House, which they'll never be able to do with a Bernie Sanders at the top of the ticket.
Without any question. Next biggest loser, who do you think?
Oh, easily Elizabeth Warren.
Without any question.
Warren finished fourth in the state next door to hers.
I think if she fails, which she will in South Carolina, always say North Carolina, I mean South Carolina, I believe it's over.
Yeah, I don't think she can do well in South Carolina.
She's not going to. No.
She's a traditional New England liberal, which does not play in the South, even in the Democratic Party. So I don't think she's going to do well. People are starting to back away because New Hampshire was big for her. She needed a first or second place win because this was essentially home court advantage for both her and Bernie. If she didn't take first or second, it means she's not taking first or second anywhere in the country, except with the possible exception of Massachusetts.
What happened to her? I think, I don't know, time flies. Maybe a month ago, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago, she was ascending. What happened?
She was beaten by the facts. Every time she came out with this huge plan, people went, well, how are you going to pay for it? And she went, I don't know. She had all of these half-baked ideas, and the moderates don't like her. People just went, okay, you know what? She does not have what it takes. And most importantly, people have come to the conclusion that she stands no chance against Donald Trump.
I would agree. I also think that there was a bit of disingenuousness to her. In other words, like getting off the private plane. And okay, don't lie. One thing about life and politics and anything else, just don't lie. It's so much
Right.
better to be honest. And she could have got off the plane. There's probably a logical reason why she needed that private jet, but don't try to hide behind one of your surrogates. It just you take something that's a non-issue that maybe Fox News would have said. So who cares what they say in terms of you're a Democrat? And now it became a real issue when she's trying to hide. To me, she has an honesty issue. Everything from her Native American roots to you name it. She's very disingenuous. I believe her political career is completely over. What do you think? Maybe even in Massachusetts.
I think she can still hold on to Massachusetts. She still has a big following there. But I really think the turning point for her was when she revealed the genetic test, because that showed, oh, you've been going on for years and years about your Native American background. Now it turns out to be completely false. And that right there threw her credibility into question on anything. So whenever she came out with a plan, they went, okay, but how is it going to work? How are you going to pay for it? And she never had answers.
Okay, here's another thing I think, on that same note. Very much an elaborate hoax. I mean, almost I say disqualifies you right out of the gate. I mean, it's like me saying I'm African American
Yeah.
It was a lie. She knew it was a lie, and she's so arrogant. Okay, that she thought by some way, some luck of the draw, I can't really tell you how or why, that it was going to come back that she was Native American. The whole thing was a joke.
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and defend her. I'm going to assume that she didn't know that it was a lie, that it was something that was passed down in her family from generation to generation. Somebody had made it up somewhere down the line, but her parents probably didn't actually know it wasn't true.
Okay, here's what I believe. Someone can tell me that I'm, I don't know, whatever, of African American descent or whatever, or whatever. You really, if you're going to come national with it, you really want to do the test before you go public.
Yes.
Huge gaffe in terms of judgment. Yes.
Well, but again, remember, this is something that she's been saying all along, not just in politics, because it came out that she put Native American down on her college applications. So
yeah, and that's how she got some of the ascendancy that she enjoyed. It was basically a scam. I'm not saying she's not a bright woman, but when you say Native American, that's probably the highest on the food chain in terms of special treatment. Probably highest.
Yeah, she should have known before going forward with this. Switching tack, though, there was another surprise beneficiary out of last night, Michael Bloomberg. He was not on the ballot in New Hampshire, but there is a town in New Hampshire, and I'm blanking on the name of it.
But they are pre-ballot, yeah.
Yes, they are the first people to vote. They vote at actually midnight the day before. There are only 5 people in the town, 5 ballots. Michael Bloomberg won 3 of them.
I think we'll close on this. I think he had a really good shot. I don't know if it's over, but some of those tapes about jacking up young African American kids, and you need to just put all the police in minority. I don't know how that plays in Peoria.
And it's not going to play at all. There are tons of video clips out there of his speeches that, as they come public, they are not going to go well. I actually think Michael Bloomberg if Bernie continues doing as well as he does, Michael Bloomberg is going to guarantee Trump a second term, because I think he will take enough delegates that Bernie is going to have to make a deal at the convention. It's going to be a brokered convention. They're going to have to figure out who's going to get the delegates. Bernie supporters will not support Bloomberg. Bloomberg supporters will not vote for Bernie.
I agree. Very good last point. I do believe, and we'll talk about it in another edition of Carnivore Bites, I truly believe that it will be a brokered convention at this point. That concludes this edition of Carnivore Bites. We'll be back next week.
See you then.
You've been listening to Carnivore Bites, part of the Exvadio Podcast Network. You can catch us every week on carnivoreradio.com, exvadio.com/podcasts, the Apple Podcast Store, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and wherever you find podcasts.